Navigating the banking system in a new country can be overwhelming. Whether you're planning to retire, start a business, or purchase property in Ecuador, understanding the ins and outs of banking and finance is key. In this video, I'll guide you through everything you need to know to manage your finances efficiently and securely in Ecuador. Hi, I'm Esteban. As someone who has lived in both the US and Ecuador, I've experienced firsthand the differences in banking and financial systems. For over 20 years, I've been helping expats settle in Cuenca, and managing finances is always one of the biggest challenges, whether it's opening a bank account, transferring money internationally, or understanding the tax system. I'll cover the essentials to help you feel confident managing your money in Ecuador. Let's start with banking. Ecuador has a solid banking system, but there are a few important things to keep in mind if you're an expat. First, many expats prefer to open accounts with larger, more established banks like Banco Pichincha, Banco del Pacifico, and Produbanco. These banks have a larger presence and offer more services that cater to international clients. To open a bank account, you'll typically need the following documents: a valid passport, proof of residency or a visa, a minimum deposit. This varies by bank but is usually around $300 to $500. Utility bills to prove your address in Ecuador. Keep in mind that some banks may require you to show proof of income or provide a letter of recommendation. The process can be a bit bureaucratic, so it's best to come prepared with all the necessary documents. When it comes to managing your finances, one question I often get is about transferring money internationally. Ecuador uses the US dollar as its currency, which makes it easier for many expats, especially those coming from the US, to manage their finances without worrying about exchange rate fluctuations. Now let's talk about credit and loans. Getting a loan as an expat in Ecuador can be tricky, especially if you don't have a long financial history in the country. However, some banks do offer personal loans, mortgages, and business loans to foreigners who have legal residency and meet the bank's requirements. Interest rates on loans in Ecuador tend to be higher than in the US or Europe, ranging between 6% to 11% for mortgages, so it's something to consider when planning long-term investments. For those considering purchasing property, banks typically require a down payment of 20% to 30%. I always recommend consulting with a local financial advisor to ensure you fully understand the terms of any loan or mortgage you may be considering. Another key aspect of managing your finances in Ecuador is taxation. Ecuador has a progressive tax system, meaning the more you earn, the higher your tax rate. However, the rates are relatively low compared to many Western countries. If you're a resident, you'll be required to file taxes in Ecuador if you meet the income thresholds. Income from local and foreign sources is taxable, but Ecuador has tax treaties with several countries, including the US, to avoid double taxation. If you own property in Ecuador, you'll also need to pay property taxes, which are generally low, usually a fraction of a percent of the property's assessed value. Additionally, expats who stay in Ecuador for more than 183 days in a year are considered tax residents and are subject to Ecuadorian tax laws. Finally, let's talk about insurance. Many expats choose to take out private health insurance, which is relatively affordable. Some insurance companies also offer coverage for homeowners, vehicles, and other assets. Having the right insurance in place gives you peace of mind when living in a new country. When I first moved back to Ecuador, I found the banking system to be quite different from what I was used to in the US. It took some time to get comfortable with the processes, but once I did, I realized how efficient and straightforward it can be. One of the biggest advantages is using the US dollar, which simplifies things for many expats. Now that you have a better understanding of banking and finance in Ecuador, in the next video, we'll dive into how to find the right property in Cuenca. Whether you're looking to rent or buy, I'll give you tips on finding the perfect home. Be sure to subscribe for more insights on life in Ecuador and real estate advice. If you're planning to move to Ecuador and need help navigating the local real estate market, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to assist you in finding your ideal property and making your transition as smooth as possible. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on living in Ecuador.